in Orlando. He joins us each week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. And Austin, this morning, you guys had the news of Joe Milton opting out, which he confirmed in the statement he put out. That means it's Nico time. The talented true freshman will get a start on Monday. What does this mean for Tennessee? Nico getting the start against Iowa.
Well, it means there'll be a lot of new faces out there, and it's just not just Nico. I mean, Cam Seldon will be the number 2 running back behind Dylan Sampson in this game. So when Seldon's in the game, it will be freshman handing off to freshman, so to speak. And so there'll just be a lot of new faces on both sides of the ball, but obviously a lot of excitement around Nico. Joe deciding to pass the torch, go ahead and focus on this Senior Bowl and focus on the NFL draft. And, I think that, he was comfortable with it. Tennessee was comfortable with it. And, a lot of excitement around the program, a lot of excitement from fans on this Wednesday as, to people find out officially that Nico will be getting the start. A lot of people, a lot of speculation has been out there the last, few weeks, and, it comes to fruition on this Wednesday. So just a kind of a fresh feel, a fresh look, a lot of excitement. And, I know your co-host there is one that's really excited to kind of see what number 8 can do.
It's Nico time in Tennessee. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Austin. How important is it for the receivers, the offensive line, running backs, tight ends, and mainly Heupel and Halsley to make sure that they're operating at a level that helps Nico be successful in his first start for his confidence heading into the offseason?
The game plan and having success on first down, Jason, will be really big. I think that, I don't think John Campbell's probably going to play in this game. He's still battling an ankle from late in the year. But Gerald Mincey, I believe, will go. Dane Davis, Jeremiah Crawford, Cooper Mays, Ollie Lane, and then I think Jackson Lampley at right guard. And so, Tennessee will have most of their offensive linemen, not all. You'd love to have Campbell out there, but doesn't feel like he's going to be good to go. So, outside of Campbell, I think Tennessee will be, fairly healthy. Obviously Spraggins missed the last, few games, and I think that helps. I think the receivers, I think Ramel Keaton will be big in this game. I think the tight ends will be big in this football game for Tennessee. I think Tennessee needs McAllen Castles, Jacob Warren to play a big part. And then, I think it all boils down to game plan, helping Nico be successful early, not having to play at 2nd and 10 or 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, playing at, 2nd and 5, 3rd and 3. All those things I think can help Nico have success in this football game.
Austin Price is with us, Volquest.com. He joins us each week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. What do you know about the progress Nico has made from when he arrived at Tennessee to now, or if you want to look at it from the start of camp in August when he was fully practicing with this year's team from August to now? What have you heard about the development coaches have seen from him?
Well, they've just seen things start to click more and more mentally, right? When you're a 18-year-old, wet behind the ears freshman, it just things, get easier and easier the more you do stuff. The more he practiced, the more he got into actual game repetition. You look at his stats the last 2 outings, with he 5 of 8 and 9 of 12 or whatever it was. He was efficient, didn't put the ball in harm's way, and doing so a lot of times with the backups around him. He'll have more starters around him in this game than he's ever had, and I think, that should give everybody some excitement. Now, I do think you caution either way. The overreactions coming out of this game Monday are going to be rich. If he doesn't play well, it's going to be, oh, my gosh, the money in NIL, what a waste, and blah, 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 blah. If he plays well, the overreaction is going to be, oh, the Heisman campaign in 24. So, I think the most important thing to remember is he's not playing with a full complement of players around him. There are a few people that are going to be out. Obviously, there's no Jalen Wright in this football game. There's no Bru McCoy. There's no Dante Thornton. There's no John Campbell. But he does have more pieces around him, and I think that can help him. But I think the biggest thing to realize is you go back to 1994, and it's a little bit different, right? The offense is different and everything. But 94, Peyton completed, 7 passes for 79 yards and a 10-9 win over Washington State. About the only comparisons you can draw from those two are the fact that both starts, Peyton's in 94 and Nico's now, where you're going against really good defenses. You know, Washington State was a really good defense in '94. Iowa, statistically, is a really good defense in 2023. So, you know, excited. I think the excitement, just the buzz around it is palpable. But I think you still have to remember he's just 18. You look around college football and all the freshmen that played this year. You know, it doesn't mean he's going to walk out there and all of a sudden Tennessee's just going to be going up and down the field like it's 2022 Alabama.
Awesome. PriceVolquest.com. You mentioned Bru McCoy. Everyone has dropped statements, whether they're leaving, whether they're going. What about Bru McCoy? What's the latest on him coming back or leaving?
I think Bru's still in the decision-making process. Don't think he's totally decided one way or the other at this point. I think for a long time most people, had him leaning to come back. That's probably where I would be with it too. But at the same time, it wouldn't shock me if he decided to just go ahead and take a shot. I think a lot of it depends on how the ankle's healing. He's spending a lot of time with one of the top foot specialists in the country out in California and, trying to get as back healthy as one can be, whether it's for, to be around the team, be around spring practice and do some stuff off to the side in spring here, or if it's to get ready for the NFL Combine in March. Either way, I think, Bru's working towards a decision. I would expect some type of decision from him in probably the next, 7 to 10 days.
I know you probably deal with this all the time, Austin, when you pull up in your neighborhood and all your neighbors are really jealous of you. Tennessee fans looking at Ole Miss going out, hitting the portal, getting Walter Nolan, getting all these additions. What do you say to those Tennessee fans who are like, what's going on over there? We're more, I guess richer when it comes to an NIL standpoint to Ole Miss. How is Ole Miss able to do that? And we're kind of, it seems like taking our time. What do you say to those Tennessee fans?
Well, I think everybody has to have their method of kind of how they approach things. Lane's method is to put, a lot of his NIL money into a handful of guys and, try to be top heavy, right, and go big portal heavy. Josh Heupel, his method is more, probably spread it out more amongst the entire team, build it through the high school ranks. Now, I would tell you that Josh Heupel's got to adjust how he plays kids, because if you're going to build it through the high school ranks, you've got to play the high school kids more. And I would tell you I think that's where maybe they come up just a little bit short this year was, getting Nico into games, getting Ethan Davis into games, getting some of these defensive backs into games more frequently, especially when the game was, out of hand, good or bad. Missouri's a perfect example. Like, a lot of those older linemen were in there. Tennessee's down 30 with 5 minutes to go. The game, you're not winning that game. Why are you not seeing what you have in Masai Reddick or Addison Nichols, who was here at the time, or whoever, right? Like, Addison Nichols only went in the game at Missouri because Ollie Lane got hurt. The game was over. And so I think that's kind of, to me, that's the one thing you could say and critique the staff is they've got to not get caught up in the game when the game's not close and force feed some of those younger kids to build that depth, to build, kind of how you want to build it, because your strategy is to go through the high school ranks and not go through the portal. Now, they sprinkle in some portal kids, Jermod McCoy, Chris Brazel, Holden Stays. All those kids are nice additions to Tennessee's team in 2024. So, we'll see kind of where things go. But I understand, for some fans, they get caught up in, the stars. How many times has Walter Nolan made all SEC in his 2 years at Texas A&M?
Ooh.
Zero. And Walter Nolan's a really good football player. But I'm just saying, to this point, it's not like he's been so dominant that he was an all-SEC performer. Like, to me, you have to look at it from certain ways. And he may have actually made it this year. I don't even, I've not even looked at all the teams. I know that, you look at, it's not as simple as, former 4-star, former 5-star recruit. I mean, Xavion Capers was a former 4-star wide receiver who picked Auburn, and he just left the transfer portal from Western Kentucky. So he's been at Auburn, didn't do anything, been to Western Kentucky, has already left there. Kids that have 4 stars, 5 stars beside their name bounce around. Look who's been productive. And Walter's been productive. So is Tyler Barron. They've got some nice additions. I'm not going to gloss over that. I'm just saying you look at the grand scheme of things, people get caught up in looking at the transfer portal of maybe what guys were projected to be versus what they have done.
Yeah, good point there. Oh, staying on the topic of portal, Evan Stewart, there's some other names out there that's tied to Tennessee. Kind of where does Tennessee sit with some of the guys who are currently in the portal? Maybe some of the targets that Tennessee is looking at.
A.J. Harris could visit here, in early January, the Georgia transfer. We'll see if he does. I mean, a lot of this stuff can change. Evan Stewart, at this point, I don't see him visiting. It sounds like some schools have cooled on him. So we'll kind of see where that one goes, but it does not feel like Tennessee's going to be a player there. And the natural tie there is the mom, the dad, and the sister all went to Tennessee, right? But he chose not to coming out of high school, and that's kind of where that one's at right now. Plus, I think once they got Chris Brazzell, I think that that kind of Evan Stewart is more luxury than anything else, and so I just don't feel like that's going to be a marriage that we see happen. And then we'll see who else makes it to town. The other kid that that's in the prep ranks is Dominic McKinley, who was committed to Texas A&M, did not sign in the early period. He's a top 20 player nationally, 5-star from Louisiana, and he's supposed to be here January 20th.
Austin out the door. Austin Price, Volquest.com with the news of the day. Nico Iamaleava to make his first start for Tennessee on Monday with Joe Milton opting out of the bowl game. Is there another player or two that you're most interested to see how he performs on Saturday? Maybe a guy from each side of the ball that you're interested to watch against Iowa next week.
Well, for me, it would be Ricky Gibson, on defense. Potentially John Slaughter on defense. We'll see how much run the young freshman safety gets. And then it's Cam Sell. Seeing him get more carries, and be that number 2 behind Dylan Sampson, I'm really intrigued to kind of see what the young number 23 can do.
Good picks. Austin Price, Volquest.com, covering what's happening with the team, what's happening in recruiting, and Nico taking over as Tennessee's QB1. Every week we talk to Austin Price, thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs, making it unique, making it special, making it just for you. We want to be your jeweler there at Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Austin, make sure the red carpet is out for Swain when he arrives on his flight here in a few days. He'll expect it down in Orlando. We hope you have a Happy New Year. We appreciate you as always and look forward to your coverage of the game on Monday as well.
Sounds good, guys. Appreciate you.